But that's what I felt. I felt like I was inadequate. I felt like I didn't have enough experience to actually help people, but that's false. If you have the information and if you can provide value to people and you can help them, then why not? What's going on, BP family, and welcome to another Beyond Prosperous podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. And today we're going to be answering the question and going on the topic of making or you must develop your voice. And so, as I'm reading through Expert Secrets, this is one thing that's in the process, and it's the process of actually finding your voice in the marketplace. And so, some things that I just reflected on, just to really create this podcast and to kind of bring you along the journey is like I remember when my passion first got ignited. I remember when the reason that Beyond Prosperous was created, and that was later, but I remember when the passion got ignited in my heart, and then it came and became a flame, that would never go off. And so for me, I was reflecting, and I'm probably 21, again 22, probably 21 years old, and I'm thinking about all the opportunities that I had in my past to help people. And one the two people that I specifically remember one was in middle school, and was one of my best friends when we were in middle school, and he needed help in math. And so I enjoyed, like, it wasn't like it wasn't like I was just tutoring him. I felt like it was something that I had an opportunity to pour into my friend. He was a little bit older than me, but we were in the same grade and we're in the same classes. And so I excelled in math. Like, math just came easy to me. And so because of that, and my friend was struggling in math, like, I would just come and I would help him out and basically teach him the way that I learned it or whatever. And then in high school, I had another friend that was on the football team, and I knew that he was going to go to college. I knew that he was a fantastic athlete. We were both on the team, and I was kind of like that backbone for him. I was like the person that whenever he needed advice, he would come to me and we would talk or whatever. And so in those two opportunities, and reflecting on those two opportunities, and this was and I'm telling you this story because something in your life may have already ignited that passion, and you may need to go back and find out why. You may need to go back and find out and identify exactly what got you going. Why is this, whatever you're doing, why is this thing important? What is the story that is behind that? And so I felt like I had found my purpose. And what was that? That was like I felt fulfilled in helping people. But when I think about a life that I desire to live, when I think about creating a business, when I think about providing for my family, not just helping people, I had to figure out, okay, help them do what? And I feel like at some point, after listening to so many motivational speakers and inspirational speakers, that I feel like the niche of helping people find their purpose was saturated, right? And so I'm just trying to figure it out. And so what I did is that whatever I could think of that I felt could encourage people or inspire people, I would just create videos and I'm just posting them left and right. I never had an offer. I never had anything that could financially support my family, but I had this passion. I had this fire inside of me that I just wanted people to find their purpose. And I felt like I found my purpose at 21. How many people actually feel like they found their purpose of their life, at that young of an age? And so while I found my purpose, I also felt unqualified because I felt like I was too young to tell anybody what to do or encourage anybody in actually finding their purpose, because I didn't feel like I had enough, I felt like I didn't have enough experience ultimately. And that's false. First of all, that thinking is false. But I have to test this on my own business. I have to test this on other people, and also make sure that other people can get the results that they're looking for, which is clarity on their business and also outcome for their clients. And so what we're supposed to do is take the things that we've learned, put them in a framework, package it so that the people that we're teaching and coaching and influencing and pouring into they have a step-by-step process that they can replicate and get the same results that you got when you got it. See, that was the difference between me back then and me now. Me back then, I just had a passion, I had a drive, I had a desire, and I was just putting it into really on social media. I was just putting it out into the world, and that was good, but it wasn't going to transform anybody. And I say that because I understand now that most of the time when people are not paying for something, they don't pay attention to it. And so when someone is not having to, if it doesn't cost you something, then a lot of times it goes without, you just don't pay attention to it. For instance, our mind, like, we got it for free. And so how many of us actually day by day invest in this mind that's the best computer, as they say, the best computer ever created? Like, how many of us actually invest in our mind? You see, when things are free, then we tend to take advantage of it. And so that's a part of finding your voice. And I would say that for most people, the process would look like this. So something catches your attention and your interest, and you want to know more about it. And I'm gonna read my list here. But something catches your attention and you're interested in knowing more about it. You realize you have a lot. You realize you have a lot you don't know, and you begin to study. So study mean you begin to get involved, you begin to do whatever. And so you start learning and building your knowledge. And again, like, I'm using these terms, but for instance, if it is cooking, I use cooking as an example a lot. But something catches your interest, grandma's in the kitchen cooking, mama is in the kitchen cooking, and you see how it makes everybody else feel once they eat the meal. It catches your eye, it grabs your attention. So you start being in the kitchen more, and you start begin to study, you begin to be around and figuring out, hey, what's that, why do you do that, how long is that supposed to go? And so you start learning and you start building your knowledge, and then you start implementing it. And so now mom is cooking the main dish and you cooking the side dish, and then eventually you continue to grow, and by teaching others and making the process more understandable and less complex so it can be replicated. And so that is the legacy part of it. You see, that's what mom and grandma did. They continue to use what they knew. They implemented it, their knowledge, and they were cooking. And then eventually they continued to grow by teaching others, by teaching basically what the process was, and to make it less complex, because you may have been a kid or whatever, so that it could be replicated. And so that is this process of mastery and ultimately creating and leaving your legacy. And so when you're thinking about creating and leaving a legacy, these are the things that you want to think about. Go through that process. Something catches your attention. What in your life is catching your attention? All right, then you realize that you don't know that much about it. It's interesting to you. You need to dive in. You start learning and you build your knowledge, and then you implement that knowledge in your own life. And then you continue to grow by teaching others and making the process more understandable, less complex, so it can be replicated by the people that's trying to learn. So this is the bottom line. So the bottom line is, someone is waiting for you to figure it out. Someone is waiting for you to find your voice and ultimately use that to make their life better. And when you make their life better, they're more willing to pay to make their life better. You see, in the marketplace, all we are a solution to a problem. When you position yourself as a guide to help other people ultimately fulfill what they're trying to fulfill, the basically to satisfy the craving that they have in their life, the problem that came in their life, now you position yourself as someone, as an expert, or someone that can guide them to that place of fulfillment, to that place of purpose, to that place of satisfaction, right? And so a part of living your legacy is finding what's worthwhile for you to pour your life into for the benefit of others. And so that is what I believe. I believe in the Bible. And so the Great Commission is to love God, put nobody before him, and also to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so what that means for me is to serve your neighbor. I believe that that is a part of God's design, that he put us here not just to serve ourselves, but instead to serve others. And in the process of serving others, everything that we ultimately desire will be ours. And so, to digress just a little bit, and I want to close this on a good note, but to digress just a little bit, in my family, there are a lot of people that serve to the point where they have nothing left. They serve to the point where it looked like they're being taken advantage of, right? And so I had to find a way to get out of that. I had to find a way to serve in a way that honors God and serves people, but also in a way that allows me to provide for my family and make sure that everything else in my life is in alignment with what I believe, I'm supposed to have in this beyond prosperous life, where everything is purposeful, where my marriage is purposeful, where my me as a parent is purposeful, where my career is purposeful, my business is purposeful, my relationships are purposeful. And so that's just a word of caution. When you're pouring yourself out, don't pour yourself don't pour yourself empty, right? And so you always want to be filled. You always want to give in a sense of making sure that you give with wisdom and understanding that what you're giving, it has to be from a place many times of abundance, because if you give and you're empty, nobody else can be helped, and also you're hurt, and so this is this is the process of making and developing your voice. And this is what I'm learning to make and develop my voice, and ultimately help other people and figure out how to help other people live their legacy. And so that's my encouragement to you as you are on this journey and you're figuring it out. Take this process and apply it to your life. What interests you, and what are you willing to pour your life into that will benefit other people? All right, that's it for this podcast. Go and live your